For the men involved, this mission was never meant to be remembered. It was designed to begin, unfold, and end before the world ever knew it had existed. No public acknowledgement was planned. No cameras were positioned to capture success. No speeches were written in advance to explain its outcome. If the operation succeeded, silence would follow, and the absence of news would be its only confirmation. If it failed, exposure would be immediate and unavoidable. Long before the aircraft crossed the horizon, long before the Iranian desert appeared beneath them, the mission was already carrying the weight of something far greater than the lives directly involved. This was not simply a rescue attempt created in response to political pressure. It was a test of whether American military power could adapt to a form of conflict that no longer resembled the wars it had been designed to fight. This was a war without clear battlefields, without formal declarations, without rules that could be enforced through strength alone. In the early hours of April 25, 1980, deep inside the Iranian desert, 8 American servicemen would lose their lives without ever encountering the enemy they had been sent to confront. No shots would be exchanged, no victory would be claimed. Only a lesson would remain, one that would permanently reshape how the United States approached modern conflict. Welcome to Chronicles of War. This is Episode 2, The Failure That Changed Everything, Operation Eagle Claw. By late 1979, the United States found itself trapped in a crisis, unfolding not behind closed doors, but in front of the entire world. 52 American diplomats were being held hostage inside the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. Their captivity documented daily through newspapers, television broadcasts, and international headlines. Each passing day eroded America's credibility on the global stage. For decades, American power had been measured by visibility: aircraft carriers crossing oceans, armored divisions deployed by the thousands, military strength displayed openly and deliberately, intended to reassure allies and deter adversaries through unmistakable presence. This approach had defined American strategy since the end of World War II and had proven effective in conflicts where power could be demonstrated clearly and outcomes could be measured through territorial control or enemy defeat. But this crisis offered none of that. There was no enemy formation to confront, no battlefield to dominate, no decisive moment where force could be applied and resolution declared. Every available option carried risk. Negotiation appeared weak, suggesting a willingness to concede under pressure. Inaction appeared worse, signaling paralysis to both allies and adversaries. As the days stretched into weeks, perceptions hardened. Allies quietly questioned whether the United States still possessed the will to act decisively. Adversaries began testing American limits in subtle, deniable ways that avoided direct confrontation. This was not merely a hostage crisis unfolding overseas. It was a credibility crisis unfolding inside the United States itself. And the longer it continued, the more dangerous the silence became. Operation Eagle Claw emerged from that pressure. It was ambitious not because planners sought complexity, but because the situation allowed no simple solution. Nothing like it had ever been attempted by the United States before, not at such distance, not under such intense political constraints, not with so many variables beyond direct control. The plan required precise coordination across vast distances and hostile terrain. Helicopters would launch from an aircraft carrier in the Arabian Sea. Transport aircraft would penetrate deep into Iranian airspace under cover of darkness. Forces would regroup at a remote desert staging area, refuel, and then move toward Tehran in carefully timed phases, all while avoiding detection by hostile forces and civilian observers. On paper, the operation appeared technically feasible. In reality, it depended on near-perfect execution. Each branch of the U.S. military brought experience to the mission. Each brought confidence earned through years of training and operational success, but each also brought assumptions shaped by its own doctrine, equipment, and command culture. Procedures that worked smoothly within one service often conflicted with those of another. The mission did not belong to any single service, and that was the problem. No unit had rehearsed the operation from beginning to end as a complete system. No single commander held authority over every phase. Responsibility was distributed across multiple chains of command. Control was fragmented. On paper, cooperation existed. In practice, unity did not. In an operation where minutes mattered, complexity itself became an adversary. The Iranian desert offered no forgiveness. It did not adapt to human error. It did not accommodate mechanical weakness. It magnified every mistake. As American aircraft entered Iranian airspace, the first signs of trouble appeared. Fine sand infiltrated engines in ways that had been underestimated during planning. Extreme heat-taxed machinery already operating near its design limits. Darkness erased distance and depth, turning navigation into estimation and judgment into guesswork. Mechanical failures were not isolated incidents. They were early warnings. Each delay reduced available options. Each adjustment narrowed already thin margins. Each decision introduced new risk. Plans that had looked manageable during briefings now collided with environmental reality, fatigue, and uncertainty. There was no enemy force applying pressure, no hostile fire closing in, no opposing army waiting to engage, and yet pressure was everywhere. Men trained to execute under fire were now forced to make irreversible decisions without it. In the darkness of the desert, uncertainty became the most dangerous element of all. By the time American forces reached the remote staging area known as Desert 1, the margin for error had vanished entirely. Confusion grew, communication faltered, equipment failures compounded earlier delays. Decisions had to be made with incomplete information, under intense time pressure, and without clear authority to resolve competing priorities. Eventually, the decision was made to abort the mission. It was not an admission of cowardice. It was an acknowledgement of reality. But withdrawal does not erase danger, and it does not remove consequence. In the chaos of darkness and blowing sand, coordination became fragile. Visibility disappeared. Familiar reference points vanished. Aircraft repositioned under extreme stress, with crews operating at the edge of exhaustion. In moments, tragedy struck. A helicopter collided with a transport aircraft. Fire erupted across the desert floor, turning the staging area into chaos. 8 American servicemen lost their lives without ever encountering the enemy they had been sent to confront. The mission had failed. And soon, the world would know it. The aftermath of Operation Eagle Claw was brutal, not because of blame, but because of clarity. Explanations were demanded almost immediately. Political leaders searched for answers. Military leaders searched for understanding. But explanations could not undo what had already happened. What mattered now was not who failed, but why the system failed. Investigations revealed fragmentation at nearly every level. Too many chains of command, too many incompatible procedures, too little joint training, too much reliance on optimism where doctrine should have existed. This was not a failure of courage or individual competence. It was a failure of structure. For perhaps the first time since World War II, the United States confronted a truth it could no longer ignore. Modern conflict had outpaced its institutional design. Operation Eagle Claw forced a reckoning. Special operations could no longer be improvised. Joint missions could no longer be optional. Preparation became doctrine. Integration became necessity. Silence became discipline. Failure was no longer something to hide. It became data. Humility became a catalyst for reform. Out of the wreckage of Desert One came changes that would quietly transform American military operations. Not loudly, not publicly, but permanently. Command structures evolved. Training philosophies shifted. Integration between services became a priority rather than an afterthought. The lessons were painful, but they were learned. History often remembers Operation Eagle Claw as a failure. But history is rarely that simple. Its true legacy lies not in what went wrong, but in what followed. When later missions succeeded quietly, without spectacle or announcement, they did so because Eagle Claw had failed loudly. Many of those operations would never be acknowledged. And that silence was intentional, because success was no longer measured by visibility. It was measured by absence. The absence of crisis. The absence of escalation. The absence of war. Operation Eagle Claw did not weaken the United States. It humbled it. And in that humility, adaptation began. History remembers battles. We remember how nations learn to survive. This is Chronicles of War. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for